This week's discussion board is about the Elizabeth Loftus article that we read about, where she's a expert witness and she's having an interview. We're supposed to answer what is your takeaway from her answers, as well as has anyone you know or yourself been falsely identified, even if it wasn't a crime, and what do you think the reason was? Assess. Personally, after reading the article, it just reminded me that expert witnesses have a certain criteria and need that expertise to be able to do what they do inside the courtroom. They also have to make sure that they're able to back it up between their previous education, what their job titles are, and how deep they go into going through the evidence and all that. In her case, she's going through what a lot of victims have to go through, which is memory, where a bunch of people tend to falsely identify people for a number of reasons. Some of those reasons being possibly lack of sleep, there's too much stress, perhaps there are other outside influences, such as when her example was somebody identifying somebody in a lineup, but only because they were seen from the photo lineup. Whether he was the correct person or not, the perpetrator, it cannot be said whether it's true or false. But just because there's an outside force of her previously seeing that one person inside a photograph for a photograph lineup, and then going to an in-person lineup, she chose that person because they're seen from the photographs. What this entire thing tells me is that even though people can see it as simple or something memorable, is what a lot of people think, it's not always that simple. Whether you can say you could always remember a face after an incident like that, whether you never forget a face because you have terrific memory, it's not always true. And sometimes it can put a lot of innocent people inside jails behind bars, and they most likely won't be proved innocent until how many years later. They could possibly die in prison. They will be shaped by all the incidents and things that happen within prison. It's a life-changing event that goes on for years, and it doesn't stop even after you're out of jail. That being said, personally, I have not been falsely identified. I don't really know too many people who've been falsely identified, honestly, because I personally find distinct features about people. I've never really been in a situation where somebody would be identified falsely, especially a crime. So, in that situation, no. I have not known anybody who's been falsely identified, and I personally have not been falsely identified.